This is TWiT.
The one new number we found out this week from the SEC filing was Microsoft's revenues from both Surfaces since they were launched was $853 million.
That was from both.
Both.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
Right. But
I thought that was just RT. That was both.
Yeah, it was both.
That's not
but
good.
You know what we don't know, and I saw some people kind of jumping to conclusions here.
I love the numbers that people come up with.
I know,
right? The
like
millions.
suddenly they're dividing like two numbers that we like. Here's the average selling price. If you figure out the average selling price between Surface RT and Pro,
That would assume they both sell equally well, but we know that RT certainly is not selling as well as.
And we also know Microsoft's been selling Surface RTs and Pros at their shows lately for very steep discounts too, which people aren't
that
figuring
would cut
into
the revenue as well as the profit.
Right.
In other words.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and also make it hard to understand how many units were actually sold of each, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So can you
so we
make
don't
any
know that.
projections at all about how well they're selling? Well, they're not selling well.
Right.
That would be
So,
one projection.
From a scale on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is really crappy and 10 is great, it's like a negative 17. No, I don't. No. I mean, it's. I don't think it's fair to say. I mean, there's a lot going on here that I think people have jumped to conclusions. You know, people are saying, oh, now they're going to get rid of Windows RT. You know, this is a guarantee. Like Surface RT is dead. You know, Microsoft spent 5 years, 6 years on Zune. They have spent over a decade on Xbox. These things are essentially, or were in the case of Zune, you know, investments in Surface RT, or Surface, I should say, is a lot more important to Microsoft's core than, say, Zune ever was. And so,
although you might at this point kind of pull the plug on RT and just focus on Surface Pro.
They're not going to do that.
Maybe.
They're not going to do that. Not going to happen.
I don't think so.
No.
I really don't think they're going to do that. I think.
Too bad
part
they
of
didn't
the
spend
reason-
more money advertising it, because, you know, if people only knew.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
That's the other number we found out this week, right?
Sure.
Windows sales and marketing expenses rose $1 billion in the
By the way,
last fiscal
rose
year.
$1 billion. That's why
Rose
I
They
said
weren't
$1
$1 billion. They were plus $1 billion.
Right.
Yeah, that's why
Plus
that
$1
says
billion.
the sound you're hearing is, you know, at least $2 billion. We don't actually know the total. This is the point.
Holy moly.
It rose at least $1 billion. I mean, you might say, okay, but maybe half of that was Surface, half of it was just pure Windows 8, or, you know, maybe the mix.
I don't know. I'm thinking about all the ads I saw. They were all the click, 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 dang, beep, beep. They were all Surface ads, right? Weren't they? I don't remember a lot of non-Surface ads.
A lot of them were. And Subways in New York.
Oh, then there's the Bing ads. They did those ads, the Bing challenge. They spent a lot of money on those, too.
Yeah.
So,
There's
they
also,
spent
you know,
a lot.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that's occurred, of course, is that, you know, at some point in the distant past, Microsoft obviously did some kind of math on the back of a napkin where they said, look, we're going to harm our PC maker partnerships in some way, obviously, by competing with them. At what point does that make sense, and so forth? You don't have to look very hard today to see that HP just announced something that looks exactly like an Ultrabook, except that it runs Android.
Wow.
You know, all of their partners are... hedging their bets is not the right way to put it, but they're releasing a variety of product types. You see Chromebooks in the market, and you see different things happening. And so Microsoft is not really in a position, I don't think, where they can say, we were just kidding with Surface. Sorry about that. Come on back to the fold. I mean, I think they're kind of in this for the long haul. I don't, you know, a lot of people see these numbers and they think, oh, this is the end of that, and nice experiment. But I don't know. I don't see it that way.
No. And I don't think they're going to just throw the towel in. Like after spending all this time to port, we forget sometimes how long it took them to port Windows to ARM. It took them, they've been doing this for maybe 6-7 years, right? And part of the reason they care so much about this is ultimately, you know, we talked about this a long time ago. The desktop's not going away in the near term, right, on Windows 8. But Microsoft's goal is to get everyone to write Metro-style apps. And ultimately, at some point, they want the desktop to go away. And so their bet for that is Windows RT. That's kind of like the platform where they're testing that ground. How is that going to work? It's where they really can control all the inputs. I think this is going to stick around for sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get better with the next version and the next version and the next version.